Tune us up, baby. Welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, pregame edition, live from BetMGM here at the Great Lawn at State Farm Stadium. I'm Johnny Venerable. He's Bo Brock, the playmaker, Brittan Golden. We're still 1 week away from the return of Kyler Murray, but gentlemen, that means we get to see the rookie out of Houston take the field against the Cleveland Browns today.
Can you weather the storm 60 more minutes? Can you just, Brittan, can they just set up this fifth-round rookie for success? At least make this thing close. Make it as competitive as most of these games have been, but I think that's easier said than done. People have been coming at us about they think we're trashing Clayton Tune. We're not. I think we're trying to be very realistic as far as what the odds are stacked against this Arizona Cardinals team. You could be encouraged by the skill set from Clayton Tune, but the task at hand, man, it is as tough as it comes in the modern day NFL.
No, it's tough, and you're going against, we discussed, the top 3 defense in the NFL right now that's led by Myles Garrett, who might be the scariest human being in football right now. But, yeah, I mean, it's a tall task to ask of a fifth-round rookie. He's got all the skills. He's got an arm. He can do everything you want him to do. He's mobile. He can move around. But I think the key to this game is Petson getting the ball out of his hands quickly, early in the game, to establish some success, and then you can push the ball downfield.
It's strange because we haven't talked about Clayton Tune since really training camp and the preseason, and yet we've been talking about Joshua Dobbs, a little bit of Colt McCoy, and then, of course, the returning Kyler Murray. And then we just get this one Sunday taste, we think, of the fifth-round rookie. What's his battery going to look like offensively and defensively? Well, let's check out the inactives today, Week 9 for the Arizona Cardinals against the Cleveland Browns. No real surprises, although disappointing. Michael Wilson, the third-round standout receiver out of Stanford, not playing today. I think they're playing it safe, Bo. Shoulder situation. Outside of that, Tristan Colon at left guard. He's out, as well as Keitrell Clark, who remains inactive for probably on-the-field production or lack thereof. But the biggest takeaway right now, DeMercado and Michael Wilson not available for rookie Clayton Tune.
That's right, yeah. Michael Wilson doesn't look like he's too banged up. Saw him around the facility, on and off the practice field, still kind of, I guess, in the practice huddle, I would say, kind of with his teammates. So he's not getting too far from the playing field. And I think he'll return as early as next week. And Jordan Schultz tweeted it out last night with the report that he was indeed not going to play. And that kind of adds to, okay, this is why you just kind of use this as like the anomaly for the season. This is why this is going to be the outlier game where you're not going to be near, like, not even close to full strength. Like, no Connor, no, not even DeMercado, no Wilson. The quarterback, you're 1 week removed from Joshua Dobbs. I thought Brittan made a good point, and I was thinking about this too. Like, this is a huge Drew Petzing day. Like, Drew Petzing is going to have to scheme the shit out of this game in order to put Clayton Tune in a position for success.
No, I agree. He's got to dial some stuff up, like I said earlier, to get the ball out of his hands quickly. You want to establish success, especially in a rookie. He wasn't a high-drafted rookie. He was a fifth-round rookie. So, he's been sitting behind, he's been watching, he's been trying to learn what he can. But at this moment, you want to try to find ways to establish success early for him to build that confidence. So going forward throughout the game, there's no lapses.
Yeah, and I think, I'm willing to give Clayton Tune and the Cardinal front office the benefit of the doubt that, trading Joshua Dobbs was, I don't want to say a mistake, but like they're clearly ready to play Clayton Tune, albeit for one game. And somebody in the chat points out, Tune had a difficult preseason, especially recognizing like blitz concepts and, was right around 50% for most of the preseason. Like, that has to be dramatically better. Now, it's been, 2 months since the preseason, since we've seen him. So obviously, like, at the end of the day, this game, you're just trying to get the baton to Kyler Murray. You're trying to get the Cardinals a bridge to next week. And again, if they can get a W, I mean, they're a 13-point underdog today for a reason. But I think if you can go into this game with your full bag of tricks, Bo Brock, we've previewed it all week, and throw a couple of haymakers where the Browns aren't expecting it, whereas the pressure is all on the Browns. We're going to talk about Deshaun Watson, the fact that he's not nearly 100%, and that, they're trying to contend in the division with Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow and company. The Cardinals can come in, and if they play their usual brand of football, which is usually leading at half, I think you could get this Browns team in a very vulnerable position. But what you can't do is allow Clayton Tune to throw 30-plus times in this game. That's a recipe for disaster.
Right, and expecting Clayton Tune against one of the stickiest teams in coverage in the NFL to throw into those tight windows. Yeah. As you mentioned, the completion percentage, like, there's going to have to be plays schemed up where there's going to be, separation between Hollywood Brown and Browns defenders,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's going to be so important because just the expectation of him throwing it through tight windows like he's Aaron Rodgers in his heyday, I think that's a bit naive. And I don't think that that would be the offensive game plan. But, are they going to be able to find, an ability to get some receivers open? Are they going to try to establish the run? Are they going to utilize Clayton Tune's sneaky athleticism? I think so. I think that's more the game plan than, hey, we're just going to take what we perceive as your strength and try to go against that. That seems like that would be a disastrous way to go about it.
It's the first part of our game plan here on the Bird Gang Blitz. Let's tune it up. Tune me up today. Clayton Tune, what can we expect from the fifth-round rookie? Bo, we talked about it this week. Brittan, the mobility of Clayton Tune, certainly not Joshua Dobbs-esque, but my good friend Bo Brock did some research. 4 of the 7 rushing touchdowns on the Cleveland Brown defense this year have been by opposing quarterbacks. So could you mix in a little RPOs with Clayton Tune? He's got more mobility than certainly somebody like Colt McCoy. I think you'd be doing him a disservice not to at least let him run with the football a little bit today.
No, and I think RPOs are big. One, it can get the ball into your hands quickly if the pass is there. If not, then you can obviously read that defensive end, whether you keep it or hand it off. And I think it'll be good to establish him moving, being mobile, getting him out of the pocket. Maybe a couple design quarterbacks run, whether it be a fake handoff and take it off or whatever you want to call it. But I think to establish success early, you've got to let him use his skill set and everything that he can do.
I also think you've got to mix in the power run game with Keontae Ingram. Like, I like DeMercado, who's doing a really nice job, and clearly he's higher on the depth chart than the former 6th-round pick out of USC. But today's a big day for Keontae Ingram. Like, is he going to be part of this franchise, this organization going forward? He's been given ample opportunities. Now with James Conner and DeMercado out, you would assume that Ingram is going to get the bulk share of the offensive load along with Clayton Tune, and that you can run on the Browns. Like, the Browns are very susceptible to, up the middle runs, and where you don't want to leave Clayton Tune is high and dry on like 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. It's the same thing you didn't want to do with Joshua Dobbs.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, the cliches are out there, especially with rookie signal callers, like, the playing field gets kind of cut in half,
yeah.
Right? And when we talk about Petzing having a big game, Brittan, isn't it like, how can an offensive coordinator scheme up his first read to where that's where they can have success? I know the Browns could do a good job in taking that away, but like, how can they find success in Clayton Tune's first read? Because we know going through progressions is so tough.
No, and agreed. And that's one of the things that Josh Dobbs struggled with lately was going through the entire progression. His first read wasn't there, and he just kind of panicked. So you don't want to get Clayton Tune into too many of those situations where the first read's not there. So like I said earlier, it's quick routes, quick game, trying to get the ball out quick and just establish that success. You don't want to put him in situations where he's in 3rd and long early, when he's in 2nd and long. You got to have success running the ball in 1st down. So I think, or just moving the ball, having positive plays, just not putting yourself back. So I think just getting him that success and getting him moving and going early, I think Petzing's got to do a great job in finding situations. You want to try to find man coverage. If Cleveland's smart, I'd probably play zone early.
Yep.
But man, I feel like you can start running mesh routes, crossing routes, get guys one-on-one, especially Hollywood Brown with his speed. Try to get him one-on-one with a corner running across the field, whether it be a 10-yard, 15-yard pass, but you can make those completions and get positive yardage.
Loving the positivity in the chat. Boston Ford, the sunrise is on the horizon. This game is a freebie, in my opinion. We aren't the real Cardinals till Murray gets back. Absolutely. We're going to talk more about Kyler Murray over the course of today. We've got 3 shows on tap for you, pregame, halftime, and, of course, postgame show. I also like this from Jack. I think Tune is capable. 3 touchdowns to 1 interception today. Gentlemen, that would certainly be a throwback to his Houston days. What'd you tell me a year ago from today at Houston? He was like throwing for 7 touchdowns, albeit to 3 interceptions and a rushing touchdown. Who was that against, though?
527 yards,
okay.
7 tutties, 3 picks, but also a rushing touchdown. Pretty good day for Clayton Tune against SMU in Mordecai
University.
Yeah, Fish University.
Grilled cheese tech.
SMU.
Yeah.
And like, as far as the other quarterback in that game, I think threw for 9 touchdowns in that game. It was an absolute just shootout. It was a basketball score. But look, I mean, if he can turn back the clock, and I like Jack's optimism. I mean, if it's 3 touchdowns and it's 3 total and it's 2 passing and 1 rushing, and he takes care of the football and it's just 1 turnover, I mean, that's a dub for the Arizona Cardinals. And he's capable of that. But it's going to take a collective group effort, as we've mentioned, with the play calling, with Ingram, the run game, Tony Jones Jr. added in there. and Corey Clement elevated, I think that's, it's going to take a perfect game from those guys for the most part to set up a stat line like that for Tune.
Love this from our guy Mikey in the chat. Let's go Johnny, Bo, BG, and the PHNX family. Come out and join our family here at BetMGM all day long at the Great Lawn here at State Farm Stadium. And Deshaun Watson, of course, is the other quarterback in this game. Cardinals, Watson woes, we hope, are on the horizon for the quarterback who's missed a couple games. P.J. Walker has been in and not been playing well. Watson comes back. But, gentlemen, this is what this podcast is prepared to tell you. He's not 100%. Like, he got through practice this week. And, obviously they want to see what they have with a team that otherwise should be a playoff contender. Watson has held them back. I think Brittan Golden, this is a prime opportunity for the Cardinal defense to take advantage of the quarterback that I think is going to need, at least multiple games, if at all, to get right this season. He doesn't have the arm strength right. If you can somehow prevent the Cleveland Browns from what they want to do on the ground with Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt and company, and you make them one-dimensional with Deshaun Watson, there are opportunities for them to turn the ball over.
For sure. I think defensively, the front seven for the Cardinals has to come up big today. You have to stop the run. You have to stop it early. You got to force them to start throwing the ball early because they don't have success on the ground. And knowing Deshaun Watson's condition right now, we know he's not 100% healthy. We know that shoulder's bothering. I feel like if you can get pressure early on him back there, you can create turnovers, you can create bad throws, interceptions, which can in turn help that and put Tune obviously in good situations offensively.
Absolutely. So, this 13-point spread, I think, is a little bit ridiculous because, Bo, doesn't it feel like if you get out on an early lead against this team and the doubt that's already creeping, this isn't a 13-point spread against, Mahomes and company or Joe Burrow. This is a team that's, I think, a very vulnerable state, very fragile state with their quarterback position. I think this defense for the Arizona Cardinals, that's played really well since Budda Baker has returned, can set the tone and allow the kind of Cleveland Browns doubt to sink in a little bit.
Yeah, and I think there's going to create some doubt that should already be there about Watson and his ability to play at the level that we used to think, or that he did play at, right? And he's so far removed from that. He's so far removed from leading the NFL in passing yards like he did before all the off-the-field stuff came into play, and he missed a full season, and then he got back into it, and he looked like a shell of himself. And now you're dealing with a struggling Deshaun Watson, but now not 100% Deshaun Watson, and they're really discounting, I feel, at least from the odds makers, that part of this. Deshaun Watson is, he's thrown for 170 yards a game even before the shoulder issue became a problem. We're looking at what the Arizona Cardinals were staring down with Colt McCoy, the inability to just make standard throws because physically the arm strength's not there. And that can play into the Arizona Cardinals' hands so well. And there's pressure. There's clearly pressure on Deshaun Watson to go out there and perform. The Arizona Cardinals can't let this be like it was with the Bengals a couple of weeks back with the struggling Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and that offense down. They can't let this be a get-right game.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, this Browns defense can win games by themselves. We've seen that. So if you're going to take away Deshaun Watson, you can't give the ball away to Cleveland. That brings us to our last point here on the Bird Game Blitz. Go Gadget, Myles Garrett. Can they stop him? Inspector Gadget throwback here. It's a problem. He's definitively the best player on the Cleveland Browns. He might be the best defensive player in the NFL. Brittan Golden. What kind of task does it pose to DJ Humphries on the left side, and what can the Cardinals do to mitigate Big 95's impact on the field?
You have to give him help. I don't care what side he's on, whether he's on Paris or where he's on DJ's side. You've got to give both of those guys help, whether it's chips for the running back, chip with the tight end. You've got to find a way to slow Myles Garrett down because if you don't, he will completely take over this game, and you're looking at a 5+ sack game if you don't give anybody help out there. He is the scariest defender in the NFL right now outside of TJ Watt and Aaron Donald. But it's just one of those guys that can completely turn the game around.
Yep. Game wrecker, war daddy, whatever you want to call it. He's him. When you look at the NFL and you look at with Aaron Donald, maybe a little bit longer in the tooth and still playing at a high level, this is a guy in his prime. He's doing crossover dribbles on his offensive, counterpart, and he's getting to the quarterback. He's effing with people. He's so good right now, and that's a scary place to be. Can we arm DJ Humphries with a blunt object? Can he just hit him with an oar or a 2x4 or something like that? Because this is a DJ. We were talking about this earlier this week. As funny as it sounds, and it is a little tongue in cheek, but this is a DJ Humphries legacy type game.
What?
If he wants a future with this team, he can start by having a very good performance against one of the elites of the NFL. And that's asking a lot of DJ, but like the amount of money he's making this season and the amount of money that he stands to make next year, for the organization not to have a really, really serious conversation about moving off of a guy who's played a lot of rock-solid seasons and had a good career here in the desert, for them not to move off of him potentially this offseason, it can start today.
Yeah, like when you're diving into the draft film room this offseason, you're Monty Ossenford, and you're turning on the Joe Alt tape, who, by the way, was sensational yesterday in a loss for Notre Dame, and you're like, do we really need this guy? And then you turn on Week 9, and DJ Humphries has got, Clayton Tune in a body bag because of Myles Garrett. You're probably thinking, yeah, we should probably invest in this position again. Or on the flip side, it could be the easiest check that Ossenford and company ever write to guarantee his salary in 2024 if he comes out and plays well. Because here's what Cardinal fans don't want to see, especially with Joshua Dobbs gone, because you always knew there was a shelf life there. Cardinals are invested in Clayton Tune, albeit potentially as a backup fifth-round rookie, and they're sure as hell invested in the returning Kyler Murray next week. And, Paris Johnson Jr., his PFF grades have kind of been up and down. He's been sensational as a pass protector. You know who hasn't? DJ Humphries, who's making, 8 figures, $15 million on the left side. So to my co-host's point, if DJ Humphries wants to be at this stadium, 500 yards away from us where we sit right now in the course of the 2024 season and beyond, he's got to play well in these big games. Like I'm sick of the excuse making for some of these guys on this team, because the guys who make the big money have to produce against big-time players. Otherwise, why pay him that amount of money? So I don't expect a perfect performance from DJ Humphries, but you can't be lifeless on the left-hand side. They were pretty solid against Micah Parsons earlier this year, and that was a big reason, Brittan, that they won that game. I need a throwback performance from the offensive line.
No, for sure. BA used to say in the big games we would come into, he'd say 5-star players got to play like 5-star players today. Especially when you're playing against a team like this, playing a defense like this, and a defender like this. For DJ Humphries, like you said, Bo, this is one of those legacy games. Mm-hmm. If he can come out here and control the line of scrimmage and keep Myles Garrett off the quarterback, keep him in check, whether it's just a couple pass rushes and he doesn't get to the quarterback, I think this is a good one, like you said. As an owner, as a GM, it's going to be the easiest check you can write, saying we've got our left tackle, we know what he can do, and we know he can protect.
I hope you're getting checks written for you today. BetMGM, the BetMGM Sportsbook app right now is the place to be. Of course, we talk about it throughout the duration of our shows during the week. Bet 10, get $200. Still time, gentlemen. And we've got a couple bets that we're thrilled to discuss with you today. It's Tap That App. Johnny's picks for the best bets here at BetMGM. Number one, the Cardinals, this line went from 8 to 8.5 to 9 to 9.5. It's plus 13 right now. That's ridiculous and a little bit disrespectful to the way the Cardinals have been playing football. I get it. It's Clayton Tune. But, Joshua Dobbs had been struggling recently. Cardinals weren't losing by 13-plus points against Deshaun Watson-esque type of competition. So, minus 110, Cardinals plus 13 today. I think that hits. And then I teased it all week, so much so that this line's actually gone down. So get it now before it gets to, plus 1,000. It's plus 1,200 via BetMGM. Zach Pascal, anytime touchdown. He's replacing Michael Wilson. That counts if it's a rushing touchdown. It counts as if it's a receiving touchdown. You just got to think who are going to factor in to this offensive game plan. Trey McBride, Keontae Ingram, Hollywood Brown, but also Zach Pascal. And then maybe my favorite bet of the week, I'll call it the Johnny Lock. Deshaun Watson, gentlemen, over 0.5. So he's got to throw one interception today. You can get plus money right now on BetMGM, plus 115. Parlay these together. We're dabbling today at BetMGM. What do you think of my bets, Bo?
I love them. We're already all three locked in on that final one right there. We're the three best friends right there. We're going to lock arms in unison. That's right. For the Deshaun Watson pick. Would love to see it. I think that those are... One, you got some huge upside in the Pascal thing, and the thing that you need with that is opportunity, and he's going to be out there on the playing field, and he's going to have a bigger role this week. So if Clayton Tune can find him, or if they put him in a position for success in the red zone, it's absolutely possible. But that's what you want as far as when you've got a little bit of money on the line. And I think Pascal, they extremely discounted his ability just being out there on the field, and that gives you a chance.
What's the parlay we put together before this game? We did plus 13.
It was plus 13. It was the interception.
And then we did.
And it was Kareem Hunt anytime touchdown.
We figured Kareem Hunt's going to get his at least one time. And right now we're enjoying it with our friends at BetMGM. Did you enjoy, we talked about this before the show, Caleb Williams crying last night. Did you enjoy that?
When was the last time we saw quarterback prospect or
I
just
don't
the
like
top
it.
prospect just sobbing in the stands with
Listen, I don't care if you cry. Just go cry at home.
Probably
Don't cry on
Caleb
national
Williams
television.
last week.
the
does it
week
every-
before.
he does cry a lot.
He's on a 3-week losing streak. Him in USC. Times are tough there in LA.
Yeah.
Cry at home.
I mean, what's going on? I mean, this guy seemed like he was Teflon, right? And now,
I mean, he played well. I'm not going to take that away from him.
but
He threw the ball well.
every week there's
His
another
defense
red
sucks.
flag.
His defense sucks.
Yeah, I mean, this is. I mean, people have started dating people like this, and they seem like on paper the perfect partner, and then you go out on a couple dates, and you realize she's got 15 cats, and there's other red flags.
Yeah.
But it's each and every week, right? And it's like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, you're in horrible debt. Okay, I mean, that's that, but maybe like a striking, just really beautiful woman, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and then you go back to that, and it's not going to take away. Like Caleb Williams is still an unbelievable prospect, the top prospect in this draft, but he is not one without flaws. Like people were hyping him up to be throughout the preseason, through the first couple of weeks of the college football regular season, to these last 3 weeks, we're seeing the blemishes of Caleb Williams, and we're seeing similar, not exact ones that have been reported, ones that a certain franchise quarterback takes flack for that are only reports, but we're seeing it on full display with Caleb Williams in his final college season.
There's a bias for Caleb Williams, and there's a bias against a certain Arizona Cardinal quarterback that once also went first overall, Brittan. But here's what I will say: you can get frustrated and you can be upset over losses, but you're on a loaded offensive team for USC, and everybody's complaining and making excuses about his defensive personnel. What kind of franchise are you going to go to when you have the first overall pick next year and you go first in the draft or second or whatever it is? You're probably not going to go to a team that's ready to win right away. Are you going to be able to weather the storm early on and be a mature young adult, or are you going to fall apart? I think that's the biggest question mark for Caleb Williams right now is, can he deal with adversity? Kyler Murray's defense was also horseshit at Oklahoma. Guess what? He took his team as a 4 seed or a 3 seed to the college football playoff and nearly knocked off Alabama. Like, nobody made excuses about Kyler Murray's defense when it was terrible in the Big 12, yet everybody and their mom wants to say, well, Caleb Williams just doesn't have the tools to succeed. The Pac-12, I mean, he should have ripped apart this conference this year.
No, I agree. I mean, there's certain which I saw a comment there, Pac-12 defense is optional. Agreed. Every defense in the Pac-12 is not amazing. But, I mean, as the number one pick, when you're creating, people are coming out saying, yeah, this is the next Aaron Rodgers S-type player, this and that. And then you're asking for equity in NFL teams. Yeah. You haven't thrown it down. Like, the kid is really good. Mm-hmm. He is really good at what he does, but you've got to be able to come in these clutch moments and deliver these big-time things because, like you said, you're going to come into the NFL as a first overall pick. The team that gets the first overall pick was the shittiest team in the NFL.
Yeah.
You're not going to come in someplace and you're just going to be, oh, yeah, we're coming in and we're going straight to the top. It's not how this works. This is the NFL. This is not college football.
No.
They're all getting paid here.
You want to go to Chicago and play for Matt Eberflus or and company? I mean, times are going to be tough.
You've got to be able to weather that storm when shit goes bad.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that, I hope it works out for him. I don't wish anything ill will on anybody. I hope everybody gets the opportunity to play this game, succeeds.
All 32 teams are going to do their homework on Caleb Williams, as they should. The skill set, it's undeniable. Eddie, I see it. We're guilty of that. Yes. I don't think we're not backing up or saying that we didn't say this.
Come on.
Right. And neither is Caleb Williams, and that's the point here. And are the Arizona Cardinals, if they're put in the position, willing to pivot off a quarterback that is criticized for his leadership skills and criticized for most of the stuff that's either on the sidelines or off the field, but not on the field of play, for a guy who has the same knocks against him? I mean, the guy is saying he's going home and he's going to watch Netflix with his dogs after a third consecutive loss.
What's the difference between that and like Kyler Murray, we know, likes to unwind playing video games. Like, I don't see a difference of that at all.
He's never said that before,
but we know that's that's the knock against him. Like, let's call a spade a spade. Let's be fair here, because I think Kyler Murray, of course, has proven it. 2-time Pro Bowler, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Caleb Williams still has to prove it at the NFL level. Can we prove it with our picks today? Bo Brock and I both have the Cardinals taking an L, as we reported on our Friday show. Brittan Golden, are you going to make it 3 for 3 today, or are you going to go out on a limb for the Redbirds?
I might go out on a limb today. I feel like this is going to be a low-scoring ball game.
Okay.
If the Cardinals defense can show up 10-7.
10-7.
I think Tune gets a touchdown pass. Prater gets a field goal. Kareem gets a touchdown. That's it.
Gets a touchdown for our bet.
That's hard to win, huh? That's a dub.
I do think we get the best four-quarter game from a Jonathan Gannon defense. May not be in a win that we've gotten up to date. 9 games this year. I think Gannon's defense, even better than the Dallas game, comes out and plays hungry in his hometown. You don't think that means something for these 53 players on this roster competing for Jonathan Gannon? His high school is 5 miles away from Cleveland Browns Stadium today. He's got all the pieces in his puzzle. Garrett Williams and company, Jalen Thompson, Budda Baker, B.J. Ojolari looks good. I think the Cardinals defense, while it may not be a shutout, I could see them holding Cleveland to 14 or less points today while forcing multiple turnovers for their head coach.
Yeah, Mr. J, he's saying he's upset he's not going to be out here at the BetMGM Sportsbook, but he's going to get that dub against Johnny in our fantasy football league. Well, Matthew's calling it. Matthew Waldman saying W Cardinals. It's Wathy Waldman tonight. Jesse saying let's go Cards. Deuce saying 23-20 Cards. I'm going to stand by my pick. I think I said it was like 24-15. I think it's going to be another game where it's tight going into halftime, tight midway through the third quarter, and then you just see that this Browns defense just becomes too much. But I hope Brittan's right. I hope that this team is able to do it, because if they don't, Johnny, like next week's a home game. The last time that they won it on the road was November 13th, 2022. So now that would solidify not winning on the road in a calendar year for this Cardinals team.
They haven't beaten an AFC team on the road since Kyler Murray had Murray Magic in the fourth quarter against Las Vegas Raiders last year. Josh McDaniels since been fired. We're not fired. We're here and we're fired up. BetMGM Sportsbook. Get here all day at the Great Lawn at State Farm Stadium. Like this video, we will be back at halftime following the first half of Cardinals at Browns. We'll see you then.
We all silly like the mayor.